Okay. Okay, I think we got it. I think we got it all set up now. So happy holidays, everybody. It is Christmas week. Christmas Eve is Friday already, right? I got up this morning and looked at the calendar. I'm like, oh my God, it's December 20th. I actually had a text from my sister-in-law who lives in Bend, Oregon. They've got a major. They've been getting a lot of snow. They've got like a major snowstorm going on there. They've got 8 inches of snow on her deck. She's got 8 inches of snow.
Yeah, I don't know if that's unusual or not. But
it is for them. I mean, it's a little unusual. I mean, they're kind of that high desert plateau. It's kind of like Denver, they might get snow, but then it usually evaporates right away. But they've had a couple of major snowstorms, and I mean, they've had a couple, and they've got snow on the ground. So they're having a white Christmas, it looks like. Although they're like, well, it might be melted by the time Christmas comes along, but anyway.
Yeah. And my mom's in Tulsa. It's supposed to be almost 80 degrees on Christmas Eve.
Wow. Yeah, I just had an email from a client who she lives in Seattle in the summer, and she just went to her wintering grounds in Florida this last week. So she's in Florida now till, I don't know, May or something. But she said that it was 79 degrees. She was heading out to a concert on the park.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah, in Tulsa, you never know. I think it was like 38 today, but it's supposed to be almost 80 on Friday. But I've told Stump I've visited a few times at Christmas when it was like 80 degrees or thereabouts on Christmas Day, but there was still piles of snow, like
that's weird.
The sides of the road, because they had snowstorms, a few days earlier.
Huh? How weird is that? Wow. Huh.
You hear that everywhere you go, like you don't like the weather, just wait a minute, sort of thing.
Well, that's true.
It really is like that there. It could be ice storms and snow blizzards, and then like 2 days later be in the 80s. It's really weird.
It's like crazy prairie, Midwest prairie thing, right?
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like the movie Fargo, where they're out there in the middle of friggin' nowhere, and there's nothing but snow for as far as you can see. The opening scene of Fargo. Anyway, never mind. Yeah. Oh yeah, those are not fun to drive through. I'll tell you that. Those whiteouts. We've been there and done that a few times, and not fun at all. But here today, oh my gosh, it was beautiful. I was out earlier today, and it's really beautiful. By the way, I lifted your this week's need to know for my week's need to know, and maybe it's something we should kind of chat about a little bit.
Are you exposing that?
Well,
exposing your
I like to give credit where credit is due. I like to give credit where credit is due. You did a great job on that. I had some really positive feedback. So on that, and I actually about the tipping, yeah, okay. About how much to tip, and I have to confess.
Ironically, day before yesterday or Friday, I guess it was, Stump and I were trying to figure out what to tip with our building staff and stuff. And I'm like, I just wrote a thing about this, and still I'm like, well, what do you think? We're going back and forth. What do you think we should do? What do you think we should do? Which is why I wrote the article. But
you didn't follow your own guidelines?
Well, I mean, you do, but it's still like, well, who do we give it to or not give it to? And do we go to the low end or the high end? Or, you still have to right. But I still think it was good for me to see what other people do and what seems to be normal or not, or somewhat normal.
Right.
It was still helpful, but still, I was just like, we were still faced with the questions,
well, that's true, and I have another confession into besides the fact that I stole your article.
What else did you do?
Well, when I read that, I thought, gosh, those ranges seem a little high. So I actually ended up stepping up my tipping this year because of the article. So
Yeah.
I gave
Well,
everybody more than I did last year. But
oh, yeah. Well, I
you
think
know,
also
here's the other thing too. Like you said in the article, it sort of depends on the longevity too, right? And so I've
yeah,
known everybody another year. You know, our janitors
right.
and well, they don't call them janitors, but you know who I mean, building staff,
Maintenance staff. Yeah.
maintenance staff. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this year was different for us too. I mean, probably because of COVID, we weren't around, and there were certain people that, because of that, kind of helped more because of packages and things like that and holding things for us and doing stuff, and other people that we never ever saw too, you know what I mean? So it was, I think for us, we upped it for a few people and dropped it, or completely dropped it for some others that, we're just not really in contact with anymore, or haven't been this past year or two. So yeah, it's still
It's
I don't
still a
know.
big, yeah, it's still a big question mark, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And actually, we have a 24-hour. Well, you do too, I'm sure. A 24-hour doorman, and
Mhm.
I don't think I've.
Hopefully you have more than one.
Well, that's the thing. We have one. We have one guy that comes Wednesday night, and whom I've never met, and then the other guy apparently covers it the other 6 nights of the week.
Yeah.
And maybe I've met him. I don't really know if I have or not.
You don't come in at night or go out at
I
night?
know, right? Well, I think yeah, I know. I think I wanted to put this on gallery so we both are on the screen. Sorry, my bad. I forgot to do that. But
That's just how it looks to you, Mary. Nobody else sees it that way. So
well, it records that way though. It shows up.
oh, okay.
It shows up on
It's
Facebook.
recording on yours. Okay.
Yeah, and it records that way too. So, but well, so you don't see both of us now? How do you, well, maybe you have to adjust that yourself.
I'm in a little box in the corner.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you have to go from speaker view to gallery view. Then we'll both show.
I just want to look at you.
Well, aren't you sweet?
Of course, I don't have a lot of choices, but
You don't have a lot of choice. You've got nobody else to look at, so you're stuck with
either me or you.
You're stuck with me, pal. Anyway, no, so I had some really nice feedback, but yeah, and but like so, but Bob and I were talking about, well, what do we tip the night doorman? We don't even know who he is, and I'm like, well, the way I look at it is we still derive a benefit from him being there, obviously.
Sure.
So even though I don't know him, I actually ended up giving him the same that I gave the other doorman
Yeah.
who actually help us. Maybe
Yeah.
that wasn't good thinking, but I felt
Well,
like
it used to be our building, the former management company did a holiday fund. And so you could just, give them whatever amount and they divvied it up according to whatever their
yeah,
algorithm was.
I had a
But,
couple of people who wrote back saying that their building has a fund, and I presume it's the condo board that figures out who they're going to give what, how they divvy it up. I presume. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. And then, but we always used to give a little gift or something else to certain ones on top of that, that we had more contact with and we're closer with and had been with us all these years too. But yeah, but like, I was just thinking too, like, because we haven't been there, we haven't had any maintenance requests. So normally I have those maintenance guys, covering some small items for us. But since we haven't been there, we went, didn't even have that. But it's just interesting how it's been, depending on what their role is. Some things required more help and some things required less help through COVID. But
one person you left out though, the newspaper guy.
oh. Yeah, there was a reason for that, because nobody but you has a newspaper guy. You're the last one.
I don't, well, so I guess I need to give him more, right? He actually puts a little envelope in with the newspaper and with his
Uh,
address, so you can mail it to him.
so we used to have a mail person who did that too at the building. She put a little thing in. It was like a holiday thing with a to let you know how to give to her.
Wow. I don't know. The way the mail service has been, maybe it's not their fault, but oh my God, I feel like they should all get a 20% salary decrease.
Yeah. Well, actually, I asked my building staff the other day about it, because I was like, "Who is our mail person now? I don't even know." And they're like, "We don't have one like we used to. We used to have one person who was like, unless she was on vacation, like it was
Right,
the same person every day, and they all
right.
knew her. She knew us, all that." And they said they don't even do it like that right now. That there's different people coming at different times on different days. Sometimes they're in the morning, sometimes they're there late at night. There's just completely. So I don't know if it's because they're low staffed or what it is, but they said it's just completely different. Yeah.
Well, I think it's a combination of, I remember this must have been about a year ago. So I guess we weren't none of us were vaccinated. And of course, a lot of postal carriers were staying home because of COVID. And who could blame them, really?
Hmm.
And I remember going to the post office to have a package, to get a package mailed out. And I mean, it was a real shit show. In so many words, and I just think, and I mean, they look totally bedraggled and hassled and stressed out and understaffed. I'm sure they're under budgeted. I'm sure there's major budget cuts where they don't, you know. So I mean, we do have to show a little compassion, I think, for those people,
Yeah, it made me wonder
but
why the process is different. It's one thing for them to be late or to like stuff taking longer or whatever, but I was like, well, I wonder why they shifted from us having a regular.
Well, probably because they had so many. I mean, I'm trying to remember now what this woman told me, that what the teller told me, but I think she said something like 40% of their people were out because of COVID. I mean, either
uh,
they were sick or they were not choosing not to come
you
in.
mean like you mean last year, like
Yeah,
in 2020?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm wondering like why now though, like they're saying even at this was just a discussion I had last week that we
Mhm.
don't have a regular mail
Well, I
carrier.
wonder how many of those people got hot. You know what? Maybe that's a topic for our this week's need to know that we need to research. But like, what the heck's going on with the post? I mean, I had
Guess we don't really need to know, but
maybe we don't really need to know, but I'm actually I like to do personal handwritten notes, and I'm really rethinking that strategy though, because I had a note that I wrote to a friend that we had lunch. This is back in October, and I had written her a note, and about around right about Thanksgiving, the note came back undeliverable, not at this address. So I called her. I'm like, "Did you move?" And she's like, "No." I said, "Well, the post office decided they didn't want to mail my note to you." So, I mean, and this was like 6 weeks after I had sent it to her. I mean, it
makes
came
me wonder
back.
if we should have a new system where you send the note because you want to send the personal handwritten note, and then you send a quick text just to say, just FYI, like maybe it's a canned thing, FYI, just I sent you something in the mail, and as a matter of procedure now, I because of the mail service, I'm letting you know.
Yeah.
Or something, you know what I mean? Something just like a text back thing that's like so people know to look for it, and if they didn't get it, they could let you know.
Well, I do think our world is evolving where people prefer emails, and I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about it, I guess, what to
Yeah.
do, because I
But I
think,
think you're right, though, there are times that you want to do something handwritten, whether it's a note or a birthday card or a thank you or a gift or whatever,
Mhm.
but maybe because of how things are working, that there should be like a little backup thing that's saying, just FYI. be on the lookout for something in the USPS. If you
Mhm.
don't get it, let me know.
Yeah, I mean, because it's certainly not a given that because you put something in the mail that the recipient is going to get it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, usually, I mean, I've always been a little bit like, okay, they may not get it in a day or two. Like I remember I sent out my Thanksgiving cards. I like to do a Thanksgiving card rather than a holiday card, kind of because Thanksgiving sort of kicks off the holiday season. And I put them in the mail by November 15th. I think Thanksgiving was like the 27th or something like that. And I wanted to make sure that they got there. But you always felt pretty confident that it would arrive eventually. But now I'm beginning to wonder if that's even so anymore. But I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to know what to do, right? So. I was at the post office this morning actually, and I didn't see a big line of people. Normally this is the week that everybody, or maybe everybody was there last week getting their packages mailed, but it didn't seem like they were particularly busy there today.
Mm.
Because I was there pretty early. I was there about 9:30, I think, a little before 10. So maybe it hadn't gotten built up steam yet, but on a Monday morning.
Where is your post office?
Well, I happen to be at the one, the 60657, because we have our post office. We have a post office box there, but our 60660 is actually on Devon Avenue, just west of Clark, between.
Oh, right, I have that one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, and that's always a mess too, but they're all always a mess. Actually, I hesitate to say, but my little secret weapon, if I have to go to the post office, is there's a substation on Montrose Avenue right off of Damon, just west of Damon. And I can usually just walk right in there. I think they're like a full service station. I've never had to do anything that they haven't been able to handle.
Oh.
Maybe they don't do passports and that kind of stuff, but I can always just walk right in there. It's been there forever. It's probably been there 30 years anyway. But yeah, I often will go there rather than if I need something actually mailed or whatever, I will go there rather than to a regular post office, and it's great.
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. So I kind of feel like you and your parking garage secret. It's like I hesitate to say anything. I don't want to ruin it.
Oh, the parking garage view. Yeah.
Yeah, the parking garage view. You don't want everybody going there and ruining it. So anyway, well, I guess we have one more week. Next week is the last Monday of the year, and in the meantime, we have Christmas. So do you have plans for the holiday? Are you working, or are you home, or are you traveling? What are you doing?
All of the above. No, I'm not
Oh.
traveling, but no, we've got a lot of Stump's family coming in. So we've got a lot of plans. And then a wedding on New Year's Eve, a family wedding on New Year's Eve downtown.
Oh,
So
wow.
we've got a lot of stuff happening.
Here in town, a wedding New Year's?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, but the RPM event.
What is the tax thing about I guess that's if you have a baby on New Year's Eve, right? You get the full year as a tax write-off.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not planning on that.
Does the same thing happen if you get married on New Year's Eve? You can take the joint, I don't know.
This is one of those.
You can file jointly, probably, right?
This was one that was postponed from 2020 from COVID. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Well, that'll be a fun celebration.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, good. Well, everybody have a good week. And if you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of us, hopefully. And if you want Wes's guide on tipping, we'd be happy to send that out to you. In the meantime, we'll have a Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.
All right, have a good one. Bye.